I think they're both poison. I think he's knocking us both off. That's how it works. So how's it been so far since we had the press event and everything? Like, phone ringing a lot?
I get a lot of texts and things like that. Yeah. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm sure it's kind of neat. Any strange ones, different ones, people from faraway places?
Well, I talked to Billy Shear, and he's back now, but he's out in Arizona.
Right.
And some of the guys, Lance Alati, and some of the guys that I played with and against and knew from days past.
Sure, right.
It's been pretty cool.
Yeah, that's neat. Well, it's the Hall of Fame dinner is September 24th, and you're part of the class of 2026. Duke Mcguire here with us today. Talk a little bit about, we had the press event and some of the fanfare, and your wife and your daughters were there, and family was there, some excitement there. That's just a taste of the excitement. So how do you start to come down from that and then look ahead? You got 2 or 3 months until the event, but it sneaks up pretty quickly.
Oh, it does. There's all sorts of stuff that you got to do,
Right,
and,
sure.
And a lot of it is IT stuff, and turned her right over to my daughter, Casey.
There you go.
She's been a godsend, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
She's been a savior for that, because I have no idea, and she's been doing a great job, and she's been contacting the people over at the high school, as far as the AD, and he sent out some stuff, and we'll see what happens.
That's great. So we'll talk about you a little bit, and of course you played professional baseball, number 1 draft pick, right?
Number 1 in the secondary phase,
Yeah.
for guys that had been drafted before.
Sure, right.
So not a huge bonus, baby, by any stretch of the imagination, but
Sure.
it's still an honor.
Yeah.
Because I never knew this, but Joe Charbonneau, my buddy Joe, he was a 3rd-round pick in the secondary phase, so that made me feel a little bit better.
Well, there you go. Yeah, he was rookie of the year.
He was rookie of the year. That's right.
Yeah, that's
he was
right.
great guy.
So you played baseball at where? Cornell?
Well, I went to Amherst High School, and then I went to Cornell for a year.
Yeah. Okay.
And I left there. I started to go back to UB, but then they had the January draft.
Right.
I got drafted by the Pirates, but I didn't sign with the Pirates, so I was going to. Back then, you had to sit out a year,
Right.
But then June came around again, and that's when they had the secondary phase when I got picked, and so that's it. Just to get drafted the odds are. Of any high school kid to get
Sure.
drafted are high, and then
Right.
to get drafted twice, it's like pretty rare. And then to
Yeah,
get drafted
right.
3 times, if you don't go the 3rd time, they're going to think you don't want to play.
You don't want to play, right.
And I wanted to play, so
Sure, right.
So I jumped at the offer.
Yeah. And you went with what was it, Tigers organization, right?
Tigers organization, yes.
And what was it like your first professional at bat? Do you remember first time you went to spring training and some of those things?
Right.
Like you said, you wanted to do it and you jump at the opportunity at a certain point, but just kind of that excitement level.
Yeah, I think my first professional at bat, I was down in Bristol, Virginia, in the Appalachian League. A lot of younger guys like myself. I was 19, but there was back then. If you were 24, 25, and you weren't in the big leagues, you're
not going.
You're not going.
Yeah,
now,
right.
I mean, the guys are 24 and 25 in A-ball, and then they're going. It's a totally different situation,
setup,
totally
yeah.
different setup. But I think I remember my first bat. I think I lined out to second base in my first at bat.
Yeah.
That was beginning of the career.
Yeah, that's it. And best moment playing when you're in
The
A-ball?
best moment, I think, was when we played for. I was playing for Jim Leland in Clinton, Iowa, and it was the last game. Well, there was 2 good moments. It was the last game of the season that we needed to win the second half to go into the playoffs.
Sure, right.
And we won 3-1. I knocked in the first run, and then I scored the other 2. So that was
That's
pretty
a pretty
cool.
good game right there.
Yeah, and the other moment was my first year in Bristol. We won the pennant on the second last night of the season. So we had a giant celebration, of course.
Sure, right,
And then,
of course.
and everybody wasn't supposed to play. And everybody's supposed to get the day out the next day,
Yeah.
like guys that hadn't played play.
Yeah.
Well, I wound up having to play, and I was hitting 300, and I went 1 for 4. I went to 299 on the last day of the season. It crushed me.
Yeah, you carry that with you the rest
Danny
of your life,
Meyer,
obviously.
my buddy Danny Meyer, he was going for 4 fun. He wound up hitting 396.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. And then, so you played a lot of local ball then too, with the Voyagers and
Yeah.
and Barnstormed a little bit. And and just stayed in the game, right?
Oh yeah, well I came back and because I was still young, I hurt my back in spring training, and then I was, it wasn't anything major, but it was, enough to say,
This might not be for you.
this might not be for me, because that was the third year in a row that I was dinged up a little bit, So I played with the Eldridge Club for a couple of years, and then went up to Niagara Falls with Don Colpoys, another member of the Hall of Fame.
Sure.
Played for the Pirates, Niagara Falls Pirates.
Mm-hmm.
Then, unfortunately, Don got fired, I guess is a proper word for it. And they asked me if I wanted to do it. And I said, well, I really don't want to do it. But if I don't do it, they were going to get this other guy.
Manage the team?
Manage the team, yeah. So I became a player manager. I went from hitting like 350-something to I wound up the season at 306 because I had to throw BP every day.
Sure, right,
And I had to, DH a lot because I was trying to teach these couple of guys.
Where'd you play, Sal Magley?
Sal Magley, yeah. Okay. So, but that was a fun year. And then right after that is when I started up with the Voyagers, and we won the league like 14 years in a row. And we won the national championship, National Amateur Baseball Federation Championship in 1979.
Right.
And I think we took Joey Hesketh with us, and a couple of guys that were
good play,
pretty good.
Yeah. So speaking of 1979, the professional baseball returns to Buffalo that year. Right, and you jump right into that with that too.
Well, after in '79, in the winter of '79, I hired right after the first season. I got hired by Don Colpoys.
Yeah, okay.
And I've been since the 1980 season. I've been
just like
showing up, man, showing up. And those 1-year contracts, just keep showing up till they tell me not to.
Yeah, right. So, and you've done it all there. Like you were PR, you were marketing, you were. You probably
PA announcer.
Probably mopped some floors at some point.
I ran the youth programs.
Right. Yeah.
Kevin Lester did we both did the pitch hit and run, but I kind of he put together a program for that. I kind of put the program together for the rookie leagues.
Yeah.
Back when they were drawing 1 million people a year, it was great.
Yeah.
And it was great. Saw Kenny Lehner the other day.
Yeah,
He was with us then, and. So I've done a lot, the radio, TV. First started on the TV back in 1980 with Walt Sears and Frank Stewart for the old international cable.
Okay, right, yeah, international cable, yeah.
We did about 8 or 10 games for the Bisons that year.
Right.
That was crazy. I mean, that was that was a long time.
I was a kid at that time, and we would go to the games in '79. I loved going and seeing Lance Lottie and Luis Salazar, Tony Pena, and some of those guys, those early year guys who went on and had decent careers.
Yeah, Dave Dravecki, unfortunately, got
Dravecki,
next year.
He had a good career too, right?
Until he got
the tragedy.
Yeah, it's tough.
And
such a nice guy.
But some good names there, and then of course Bob Rich comes around and buys the team, and then it kind of elevates, gets elevated, through the move from Double A to Triple A, and then Triple A team from the rock pile to the downtown ballpark with its, the names it's had initially, Pilot Field. And you've been around all of that. You've seen all of that.
Survived it all.
Just keep showing up. But talk about, some of that. I as you know, I've been involved too, almost 40 years now with the organization in one form or another. And just that organization is a phenomenal organization to be a part of.
Oh.
Whether you go every year, you go back and it's like old home week, and you see the same people, the same ushers, the same food people, the same front office people, and it really is a family. And that's how have they been with? First, they named the press box after the play-by-play booth after you.
That was nice
last year, right? But then just to be and their reaction to this too. Talk about that.
It's everybody's excited. A lot of guys that I had worked with previously, Pete Weber, Jim Rosenhaus, Ben Wagner, Greg Brown, all those guys, they all sent their congratulations along.
Carried them all those years.
Yeah, my back's getting tired, Bernsey. I said, those guys all went to the big leagues, and I said, if it wasn't for me, you'd have been there 5 years earlier.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But, it's been great. I mean, the people, well, you know how it is. Like Darlene, she's been a ticket taker there
Forever.
Since the beginning,
right.
And I guess a couple of ticket
I think
guys.
She was standing there when they built the ballpark around her.
I think so. I think so. It's been great, and those guys. I don't see them during the winter because I just I show up opening day.
Sure, right, yeah.
Season closes, I disappear,
Right.
But it's always great to see guys Curtis and all those guys when we come back. You know, it's Tommy Sherino's not there anymore, but guys like Weeds, when Weeds was there, and Tommy Sherino.
I always say it's and we'll get to this in a second too, but I say it's like going to a good college or high school, in that we're all alumni together.
Yeah.
Right. Doesn't matter what class year you went to graduate from. You're all a Bison alumni, whether you worked there in the 80s or the 90s or the 2000. Like, we're all kind of alums there, and you show up and somebody passes like they did, you know, in the off season sometimes, and you know, late John Dandies or others we've lost, and you again they all come back. Like, they all come together for those things, and it's a unbelievable culture that Bob, Mindy, Rich have built and been maintained by John and Mike Buczkowski and Anthony Sprague and others.
Yeah, we had a saying over at Amherst High School: once a Tiger, always a Tiger.
Sure,
it's the same
we
thing.
have the same thing
once
in Timon, just so you know. We say the same thing in Timon.
Timon Tigers.
Once a Tiger, always Tiger.
Once a Bison, always a Bison.
Right.
You know, I mean, and these guys come back; they're scouts or whatever, and they just love to come back. You know, even Matt Winters, who played a little bit for the Bisons, but then went to Japan. He was huge in Japan.
Sure.
I mean, 5 years in a row, he was like killing it, killing it. And he comes back. He's scouting in Japan now, and he comes back, and he loves coming back here.
Sure,
you know?
Well,
Louis Lopez was in the other day.
Yeah,
you know?
I tell the story. Last year, I saw David Roberts, and he asked about Bob and Mindy Rich, and he asked about Mike Buczkowski, and he asked about Mark behind home plate. So he's so connected till his memories are so good of that ballpark that's what he remembers. You know, and is everybody good? And you know, that's what he wanted to know, and that's so even the players have the same sense of feeling. You know, they come back and.
They should, because I'll tell you what, they treat these guys like big leaguers. They really do. I mean, the locker room conditions are great. Whatever you need, let us know. We'll see if we can help you out.
Right.
You know, they're in the spring. Hey, you know, can you get us some hockey tickets for the Sabres and stuff like that?
Yeah.
You know, slide them in there.
Family wants to go up to the falls. We'll take care of them up there. You know, all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. They're treated very well here.
So talking about, and this is the baseball world knows you as the baseball guy, you know, Duke, Mr. Bison ambassador, and whether some kid went to a youth clinic with you or they hear you on the radio or heard you in the PA back in the day or any of the jobs you had, but you've touched thousands of other lives, as we said, on Main Street in Amherst, and in your role there, but also how you connected on the athletic side there and coached. What sports have you coached?
I
or what should be easier to say? What sports
well,
haven't you coached?
Basically, I coached JV football and girls JV and varsity basketball, and obviously baseball, JV and varsity baseball there, and and I coached at Newman High, the old Newman High School. I told them I closed that place down.
There you go.
Used to coach modified freshman basketball at Canisius High School. So I've coached a lot of people, but I've been involved. Actually, I had to give up the coaching because for my other position there, they needed some help. So I kind of shifted things over. I went to Williamsville South a little bit for a while and coached over there for Lester. But I've been involved scorekeeping, announcing, supervising 40 years now.
And you just like being a part of it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's nice that they pay me, but I'd go and watch the games anyway. But it's great. It's fantastic.
And working with the kids, talk about that. You know, the rewards of doing that.
Well, that's what it's all about. You know, you try and, in my position, I try to get them before they could get into trouble, not try and get them out of trouble. Try to get them before they got into trouble. You know, and for the most part, it worked out pretty good. It's funny. I just got a car the other day for my wife, and one of the guys I used to chase around pretty good over there, he's made it big. I mean, he's done a great job.
Sold you the car?
Knocked a few bucks off for me, sold me the car. But it's like, this guy was he was a hard out, but we got him under our wing and straightened him out a little bit, and he's doing great now.
Yeah.
Doing great.
That's great, and that's and the beauty of the Greater Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame is you're going to go in with Corey Graham, who won a Super Bowl, right? And Bobby Rosen, who's the most wins in New York State high school hockey history, and a NFL official, and softball. But it's an eclectic mix of people and talents and commitment levels in sports, and you've seen it all from all of it. You've done a lot of it, right? Both the coaching and guiding kids, played professionally, and been an administrator, and you've kind of done a little bit of all of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they kind of break it down into players, coaches, mentors, whatever, and media. I've been doing the radio now for so many years, so I hit them all. I kind of, but I was getting a little worried, to tell you the truth, Brinzy, because I'm not getting any younger, and
None of us
I was a pretty good player a long time ago, and there's not too many people can remember that far back, but it worked out great.
But it's the impact. I think it's the impact you've made on a community, which I think is what stands out even more so, right?
I hope so. I hope that's what happened. But I mean, it's talking about the people that went in. Helen Nikiel, the softball pitcher, she was working at Amherst, so I knew her a little bit.
Sure, right.
I knew Bob. I didn't really know him well, but I knew who he was because I would supervise his sporting events.
Right.
Jimmy Hutter, he lived right across the street from me.
Yeah,
I mean, right across the street from me.
It's a small world. It doesn't matter what you get it with. It's a small world, and the connections in West New York are pretty tight.
And Lester Rowe. I mean, I saw him playing some sectional basketball games. Some guys play above the rim. Lester played above the square. That's stuff you don't forget. You see a guy go like that, and most of the people that are going in the three degrees of separation. It's not even three. It's like three, one or two, but it's quite an honor.
In your time, let's do some of these. In your time in the Bison's radio booth, you have a chance to see it, and people. I do the PA, and they say, do you like it? I go, I watch baseball games, and I announce the batters, which we all did in our backyard. We were 7 years old, right? So, but who are some of the best players you've seen, calling games, and either as a PA announcer, but, and we've seen some huge names for the Bisons, but even Aaron Judge came through.
And actually, we handled him pretty good. I mean, we did a pretty good job against him.
Steven Strasburg came through. Yeah. I mean, we've seen a lot of people come through.
I remember a 19-year-old kid come through with Oklahoma City, first time through at the beginning of the season, and they just slider on the outside corner, swing and a miss. Slider 6 inches outside, swing and a miss. Slider a foot and a half outside, swing and a miss. I go, this kid's 19. He's having a tough time.
Yeah.
Next time they came back into town, he's spitting on those sliders, and he's waiting. And here comes the fastball. He's just crushing the ball. Juan Gonzalez. He was tough.
I don't know if it was going to be Gonzalez or Rafael Palmeiro. I don't know.
Juan Gonzalez. He was a heck of a player.
Saw some players, and then even some players that came through with the Cleveland organization.
Oh, there's so many good guys with Cleveland. Jeff Manto. I mean, being not just a great guy, but he was great for us. He would tell you he was like a utility guy in the big leagues. He didn't get a whole lot of opportunities, but he was a good player and
a utility guy in the locker room, in the clubhouse, right? Just great to have around again.
Fantastic, fantastic. And then that one year when we had Johnny Peralta and we had
Victor Martinez.
Victor was not for too long. Victor,
no, right, yeah,
he went up there pretty quick.
Yeah.
But A&R Diaz and Oliver Cabrera and just. Bartolo Colon,
guys that have big league careers, but other guys who just were really good at AAA.
Yeah, and Pete Weber and I got to call the no hitter by Bartolo Colon. That was great. I mean, that was great. And I got the T.J. Zoik no hitter in Rochester many years later. Those were a couple of other great moments.
Can you feel those in the booth when you're doing them, and you get?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, just the other day when we had the walk-off win, when Keys blasted that ball onto the roof of Bully Hill to win the game in the bottom of the ninth. It was like you just wanted to jump out there and celebrate with them, and you try not to get too involved in the game. You just try to, you got to be a little bit of a homer, but you just try to enjoy the game, watch the game, whatever. But when something like that happens, it's like, oh my goodness, it was fantastic.
Yeah, I would say like announcers like that, it's like putting seasoning on food, right? It's a little bit is good, and a lot is too much, right?
Exactly.
So like you said, you got to not be a little bit, in there, But those, walk-off home run is a special event, right?
It really is.
Yeah. So what are you thinking about most for September? I mean, we got the dinner coming up, and what are you most nervous about? What are you most excited about?
Right now,
I'm sure people will be busting your chops.
I go to bed at night thinking about writing that speech. I got to give that speech, and I got it in my mind. I said I might not even write this down because I got it. That's all I've been thinking about the last couple of weeks. It's like it's driving me crazy. I can't sleep at night because I'm thinking about this stuff all the time. But it's going to be great. I got a lot of my family are coming, and a lot of people that I know will be there, and it should be a lot of fun.
It's always a great event, the Greater Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame dinner and induction ceremony. Duke Mcguire, part of the class of 2026. Thanks for sitting down with us for a couple minutes and talking about your career, your great career, the impact you've made in Western New York on both the world of baseball, but also high school and youth athletics as well. Congratulations, Duke.
Thanks, buddy. Always a pleasure, Bernsey.
Great.